Jon Jones is preparing for one of his final fights before retirement, and Joe Rogan has commented on his insane training techniques. Let's check it out. With a fight against Tom Aspinall looking more and more likely with time, Jon's willingness to fight certain people has been put under the microscope, and some people think that Jon's past should be looked at more closely. Frank Mir doesn't think that he's ducking anyone.
I think Aspinall's a phenomenal heavyweight. I think he's going to be there for a while. With Jon, it's hard for me to tell people. The guy has earned so much. I feel like sometimes people have such a short memory in our sport. The guy has been one of the most dominant fighters of all time. If he wants to pick and choose who he fights, at a certain point, he kind of earned the right to. But, he faced criticism, I guess, from other people. But as far as what settles in my stomach, well, I get it. On paper, 5 years from now, Stipe is going to look just as good of an opponent as Aspinall did currently, because look how people are short memory with him right now. Oh, he's not the GOAT. He's dodging Tom. This guy fought everybody. I don't count him out in a fight with Aspinall. I've trained with Jon. I know how he feels when he grabs a hold of you. I think Tom's hands could really be the X factor if we can catch him or not. Tom's striking is more powerful than a lot of the people, and speed-wise in Jon's face. If Jon grabs him, though, I'm betting on Jon.
In fact, when it comes to Jon Jones potentially fighting Tom Aspinall, Cain Velasquez believes that Jon will make easy work of him when they meet in the octagon. Cain stated, "I don't think Aspinall wins, so me just watching him, I see his pattern a little bit, the way he comes in with his strikes. I think Jon sees it too. Jon, he studies, man. He does his homework. He's a master at this, analyzes things, and studies you over and over again. I just think for that reason, I think Jon is going to know what to do." Everyone has a pattern. Some people disguise it better than others. The way Tom comes in and fights, he has a pattern that is somewhat easier to fight. When he comes in and attacks, it's 100%. Full go. Glides in, lunges in, and does his attack. Not that it's not effective. It is. He's done great things with it. But a thing about Jon Jones is, I think he beats him because of it. On the other hand, some people do believe that Jon is ducking Tom and is aiming for a bigger legacy fight with Alex Pereira instead. John Blachowicz stated, "I think he is doing this because Alex Pereira is now a big star in the UFC. Everybody loves him, so Jones knows what he's doing. I think he should fight against Aspinall, but I think he is a little bit afraid of him because Aspinall is someone who can really stop him and beat him. I think Jones believes he can fight against Pereira, take him down, control him, maybe something like this. With Aspinall, it would be not so easy. Jones might want to fight against Pereira, not lose, and maybe finish the career. I don't know. You need to ask him, not me." Colby Covington definitely thinks that Alex Pereira would be the wrong move for Jon though, and he stated, "I've always respected and liked Alex, man. I trained with him, probably 7 or 8 years ago. He came in with Glover Teixeira, and I was good friends with Glover, and he wanted me to help him with wrestling, because he was this great glory kickboxer, like nasty future champ in kickboxing, and he knew he was already going to get into MMA at that time when he was kickboxing, but he just wanted to get more experience in the striking before he made his run in the MMA. So I was helping him with wrestling for a little bit." Oh, for sure. Pereira could definitely catch him. Jones, no doubt about it. Jon's going to shoot for those legs. He's not going to want to get cracked by Alex Pereira. That left hook and those kicks are lethal. So I definitely think he can knock out Jon with a nice little left hook. Rashad Evans has been in the octagon with Jon before, and he recounted just how good Jon was when he faced him.
When I thought the fight turned against you was when he grabbed your hands and then came over with the elbow. I noticed your reaction after that was different than any other reaction.
Listen, I can count the times where I actually felt pain in a fight, and that was one of them. That was one of them. I was like...
Remember, he had a few fights before crushed Brandon Vera's face with the same elbow.
Yeah. He came over top and he caught me with the elbow, and it's almost like I pulled myself into it because I'm pushing against his hand, pushing his mind, and then he just pulls his hands away and I fall right into it. And then, boom, he catches me with that elbow, and I remember feeling like, fuck, did Herb just hit me? Like, did somebody just throw something in his cage and hit me in the eye? Because I'm like, I can't see anything right now. And I was dazed and I was dizzy, but I was like, man, what was that? It took me a while to figure out, like, even what was it?
Yeah, Jon really was that good. Yeah, he really was that good.
With a lot of buzz going around about a potential fight between Jon and Tom, Chael Sonnen has put in his own prediction for the fight, and he actually believes that this might be the final time we see him. Chael stated, "If you wanted my boldest prediction of 2025, I'm actually very confident in the prediction, and that is that Jon Jones retires. I will tell you that Jon Jones is going to fight Tom Aspinall. I will tell you Jon's going to do a lot better with Tom than some people are giving him credit for. But that's tomorrow's discussion. When that fight is done, win or lose, I do believe it will be Jon's final appearance." With a fight between Jon and Tom being the most likely upcoming fight, Michael Bisping believes that Jon's negotiation tactics going into this part of the talks is a stroke of genius.
The greatest fighter of all time, talking about Johnny Bones Jones, is more than likely going to fight Tom Aspinall and more than likely gonna be paid around $30 million. That is what Joe Rogan was talking about on his podcast. And as we know, Jon Jones that kind of shied away from fighting Tom Aspinall leading up to the Stipe fight, which was an absolutely stroke of genius in terms of marketing because it drove the demand through the roof, sky high, made it the fight that everybody wants to see. Well, guess what? The man is going to get paid properly, more than likely. That's the rumor.
Jon has definitely expressed how money will play a huge factor in him taking the potential fight, and this plays into what Michael Bisping said.
Coming up with Jon Jones t-shirts, buying a little duck, and just the little shit that he does. He's annoying to me. He's annoying to me, and that's my own personal. He annoys me. I get to you guys, you find it entertaining, but I find him annoying, and I just don't like him. And at the end of the day, if I give him the opportunity to fight me, I want to be so compensated. I want to say it, I want that money, honestly. And that's just what it is. That's just what it is. Or else my life is perfect without him. I don't need him at all, and he needs me.
When it comes to Jon's greatest qualities, Sean Strickland thinks that his confidence is part of what makes him so dangerous in a fight.
Having low self-esteem is rough. A lot of us have super low self-esteem. Like a lot of us can look in the mirror and, like you take someone like Jon Jones, that motherfucker was inventing moves. He was like, that spinning, like when he had the, I actually did against Uriah Hall. I was so fucking stoked. I'm a fan of Jon Jones, right? Let go of the single leg, boom, back, spinning back over. That was Jon Jones.
Yeah.
But you gotta understand, Jon Jones is a fucking super athlete. Since birth, man, that kid was told that he was gold. His brothers are fucking gold, he's gold. So he goes in there and just like, I'm made of gold. I can just go fucking do
But he opened up his world title fight with Shogun with a flying knee.
Exactly.
While Jon's GOAT status isn't really up for debate with a lot of people, his pound-for-pound ranking definitely is. And Javier Mendez thinks that his lack of recent fights keeps him from taking first. Javier stated, "This is what I always say. How many fights does Jon Jones have in the last 4 years? Tell me, how many? If you said 6 or 7, okay, but how many does he have? 2 in 4 years? No, you need to fight more than that, for pound best. If Islam were to do the same, I'd put Jon Jones at number 1, but he hasn't fought as much. If he had been active, then it's a different conversation, but he's barely fought. That reason alone, I put Islam at number 1. The pound-for-pound conversation is now. I'm not going around saying that Islam is the greatest of all time. I'm just saying he's the pound-for-pound best right now. That's all. I'm not saying anything else." As for the hype going into a potential fight between Tom and Jon, Israel Adesanya is one of the pros who is looking forward to the action.
Aspinall, so far, the way he dispatched off
The Russian guy,
oh
yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
And he's fast. Sat next to him at 300. He's the same height as me, if not an inch taller, but thick.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're a lot thicker than I would expect. And the speed, that's the danger. But again, grappling, he's a black belt. Jon is
It's different.
yeah. But I don't know, man. They got to fight. But if they don't ever fight, we'll never know. Because we had that with Jon and Silva. We had that with Silva and GSP. So all these fights we will never see.
Yeah.
So we just have to have them in the ether forever and ever.
While Jon has been pushing for a fight with Alex Pereira instead of Tom Aspinall, Alex thinks that Jon would do okay against Tom. Alex stated, "I think Jon Jones has a lot of experience on his side. Some people say Aspinall this, Aspinall that, but it comes down to experience. Jon Jones is a seasoned guy. He's been there, so I think he wins. Even though Michael Bisping thinks that John's tactics for getting paid to fight Tom Aspinall are awesome, he thinks that Tom will be too much for him. Michael stated, "There is a man out there called Tom Aspinall that is the interim champion. So it'd be foolhardy of me not to recognize that and to at least celebrate the great achievements of the great one from Atherton. If there is an interim champion, it will be Tom Aspinall. However, I don't think there will be one. I believe that the reason Tom isn't fighting at UFC London is because Jon Jones Tom Aspinall will go down in the biggest heavyweight fight this sport has ever seen. Maybe the biggest fight period that this sport has ever seen. Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall, and when the dust settles, Tommy Aspinall, Tommy Aspinall. It looks as though Rampage Jackson will always be in Jon's corner though."
Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. No, Jon Jones is the GOAT in my book. You know, he's one of the best. And I recently saw Aspinall fight for the first time recently, and he's a great fighter, and he's a great champion. But I think it'd be tough for me to ever say that anybody would beat Jon Jones until that happens.
Big John McCarthy believes that Tom is the fresh king of the heavyweight division, and he stated, "I have Tom Aspinall being the UFC heavyweight champion in the year 2025. Now that can happen one of two ways, Josh. It's gonna happen. He's gonna face Jon Jones, and he could be the first person to defeat Jon Jones. But if he doesn't, I see Jon Jones stepping away from the sport, and the UFC is gonna end up putting Tom Aspinall against somebody else, and he'll win the title that way. So he's gonna end up being the UFC champion, heavyweight champion, undisputed champion in the year 2025. As for Jon's training and technique, no one is a bigger fan of his tactics than Joe Rogan. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more crazy fight news and updates.